Hello and welcome to Gaming Gadgets and Tech, and today I'm taking a look at the Govee Rope Light and how it compares to the Twinkly Flex. For those that have watched my previous video, you would have seen me unbox and install the Twinkly Flex. This is a flexible, diffused, addressable RGB strip light that you can flex, yes puns intended, to all manner of shapes to create a feature light on your wall or anywhere else that you want for that matter. I really like the Twinkly Flex, so when Govee released their version, the Neon Rope Light, I had to get my hands on one as I have a few Govee products already in my gaming room, but also in other areas of my house. I'm waiting to see how they compare to each other, and whether I should jump from one manufacturer to the other. This tends pretty much my want to reduce the amount of apps I'm using to control everything. It's not that big a deal, but it's just always easier to have everything under one app. The first things first to get it out of the box. The first thing I noticed is something that I mentioned in the Twinkly Flex video, and that's the controller. The Govee controller is the same size as all the controllers they use on the light strips I've used so far, and it's a pretty manageable size. I was really disappointed that the Twinkly comes with a controller box that's the size of a small family car. Okay, it's not, but it's big. And when, like me, you like to hide as many of your cables as possible, it made it really difficult to cable manage. Govee also separate their power block from the controller, so you can detach it if you want and run the cables in, say, a wall, and then connect it up after. You don't have this option with the Twinkly Flex as it's one self-contained unit. So in the box you get a few alcohol wipes for cleaning your surfaces for which you are applying your brackets through, and you get these nice aluminium clips for the rope light. These are better than the Twinkly ones which are plastic, however Twinkly do supply some 90-degree brackets which give you more options when it comes to designing the layout. You get the usual plugs and screws for wall fixing and a small user manual. There was no nice message from the card from the CEO like you get with the Twinkly Flex. You need to up your game there, Govee. So straight out of the box, plugging the rope light in, you can tell it's bright. I mean really bright. So after re-exposing the camera and changing the light into something I would use, you can still see how powerful the LEDs are in this strip. Maybe that's down to them not being diffused as well as the Twinkly ones, but they are definitely brighter. In person though, they aren't as overpowering to the naked eye as the camera lens makes them seem, so far so good. Using the Govee app, which I already have installed on my phone for my other LED strips, I set the rope light to a chasing thing which I'd use elsewhere to get a feel for how it performs. One thing I noticed straight away is the jump from one colour to another isn't anywhere near as smooth as what you have on the Twinkly Flex. When I unboxed the Twinkly, I was really impressed with the fluid movement in the colour, which seems to be lacking here. There's a clear stutter in the movement. Putting the two strips side by side, with the Govee on the right, you can see that the Govee is a lot brighter, hence it blowing out the exposure on the camera compared to the Twinkly. To the naked eye though, it isn't as much of a problem. The Govee just appears a bit less saturated than the Twinkly Flex, which is a nice effect. At the moment though, I am preferring the look of the Twinkly over the Govee. Taking a closer look at the two strip lights, the Govee is a lot more pliable than the Twinkly one. There is a lot more rigidity to the Twinkly strip, and maybe this helps with the more complex designs. Side by side, there's a bit of a difference in size as well, with the Govee being a good third larger than the Twinkly just by looking. Holding them together though, there isn't much difference in the colour saturation between the two on camera, but it is noticeable to the naked eye. The purple on the Twinkly is a lot more diffused and subtle than the Govee. However, I do like how the Govee looks. Again, side by side, you can see the difference in size between the two strips. Maybe because the Govee is a 3 metre strip compared to the Twinkly at 2 metres, but I doubt they have different widths depending on length. I guess I just cut the strips to size and cap them off. One thing I've noticed by holding the two strips up to show their sizes is that the Govee is a lot warmer to the touch than the Twinkly, which has little to no heat at all. They have both been on the same amount of time. That's not to say the Twinkly just doesn't take longer to warm up. Now I've gone through the differences between the two strips, it's time to set the Govee Neon Rope Light on the wall. I did say in my previous video with the Twinkly Flex that I had a plan to hide the cables. First things first, I had to remove the Twinkly from the wall, and as you can see, going straight into the wall leaves its own problems with holes I put there and the tape being left on the wall. My plan is to make a mounting board for the rope light which allows me not to have to drill into the wall again, but it also offers the opportunity to hide the cables behind the board as I'm mounting it with a gap behind. To make the board, I just grabbed a sheet of MDF from B&Q and cut it down to the size I wanted. As for mounting, I'm using some bits of cheap wooden batten. I'm putting one on the wall to hang from and two on the board. One that will hang on the one that's on the wall, and the other bit is a packer so it sits flush and doesn't sit at an angle. For painting, I set out the design I was going for. I'd chosen a cactus and placed all the brackets as needed. Once they're all down, I stuck it on the wall to check out how it looked. There aren't really enough brackets to make the design as sleek as I wanted to, but I have some strong double-sided sticky tape stuff that I will use once it's painted and ready for the final setup to sort out any problem areas that may occur. Once this was finished, I marked the brackets and add the screws in. This is because I will lose all the positions once it's painted, and I really don't want to mess up the brackets and have to fill, sand and repaint it after. Once everything was removed from the board, I filled in the holes where the screws were from the mounting brackets and sanded it and filled it. I painted the board the colour that matches parts of the room already. Now it's dry, I can remount the Govee Neon Rope Light using the screws I've already placed. Now the rope light is on the board and it is mounted, I need to hide the cables. A bit of luck I had is the remote fits perfectly behind the board due to the batten. Originally I was going to drill holes in the wall for the cables, but now I'm going to hide what cables I can behind the board and then run the power right down in the corner of the wall. It's not perfect, I thought it was a little excessive to drill holes in the wall just to run one power cable. And that's it. I'm quite happy with the results. The board came out nicer than I hoped it would, and I managed to hide the cables pretty well. As with the Govee, it's good. It is nice. It is really nice. I mean, but for the same price, I'd probably go for the Twinkly if I was making the choice. As I say, the Twinkly's got a lot more of a fluid sort of look to the lighting and how it works. But overall, I'm impressed. I'm going to leave this on the wall for a couple of months and see how I feel in a couple of months' time and whether I do change it over to the Twinkly. But until then, until next time, keep gaming.